Hey folks, Jeff here at Backcountry. Appreciate you stopping by the channel today. Well, just wanted to give you an update after the storm, so to speak. So if you follow the news, you saw that Hurricane Beryl, whatever it's called, came through the United States, hit Texas pretty good, especially down in the Houston area. And it come right through here. But by the time it got up here, it wasn't too bad and we didn't get hit by the worst of it. We just got a whole lot of rain. And with all that rain, well, it kind of helped us out. Let me show you. Hey folks, Jeff here at Backcountry. Appreciate you stopping by the channel today. You might be wondering what I'm up to because I look a little wet. That's because I am. I'm out in the rain. I'm collecting a little rainwater. So if you've been following along, you know that our rainwater collection system is way behind because the telehandler's broke. Well, I have been working on it, but we're not there yet. But I've been using a crazy amount of water to water the garden because we've been having this dry spell. Well, we got a hurricane inbound tomorrow and we're supposed to get several inches of rain. So I needed to set up a temporary rainwater collection system, and well, we had a pop-up thunderstorm right now and it's getting a test. And it actually popped up while I was setting it up. So I guess that's God's way of saying, here, use this to get it right. Let me show you what we got going on. It's definitely country. So as the rain comes off of the roof, normally we would have gutters up there collecting it all, but till the telehandler's fixed, I can't get new gutters put on, or I can't put them on. I'm gonna have them built and then I'm gonna put them on myself. That's how we do stuff. So in the interim, we've been setting buckets and stuff out, collecting a little bit of rain, but it's not enough. It's just enough to water the plants right around here. So I needed something a little better. Well, we had this leftover piece from the roof. So that's like 22 feet long, 25 feet long, I don't know. It's 20 something feet long. And I figured, hey, that'd make a good temporary rain gutter. So I put it up against the building, tied some old pieces of straps around it to give it a kind of a curve. Stacked some buckets underneath it to give it a little bit of height. The water comes off the roof, drops into the trough, runs down into this big old watering trough, which you can see it's already full of water. So I'm gonna say this thing is working all right. Then I've got my water pump set up. It's sucking water out of that thing and running it through all this filtration and through the UV sterilizer. So we're cleaning the water before we put it into the tank, and then we'll clean it again when we take it out of the tank. Unless we just use it for water in the garden, then we just leave it as is. And then it runs through a garden hose over to the water tank. So I don't know, looks like a pretty good idea to me. It's working. You can see how much rain's coming off of that thing, and right now it's steadily raining, but it's not pouring. So I imagine tomorrow when that hurricane hits, boy, it's going to be coming off fast. I'm not sure this pump's even coming close to keeping up. Anyway, that's where we're at. Stick with us. Let's see how it goes. Now that you've seen what I did, let's talk about how it went. So you can see it's still put together here. I haven't taken it down, but it actually worked out pretty well. But I did have a few problems. The first problem I had was with my filtration system. So this filtration system starts out here. I've got it off right now, but this is a 100 mesh Rusco spin down filter, and 100 mesh, if I remember correctly, it's 25 microns. Well, that got clogged up fast, and that was really slowing down the filtration until literally the water just stopped flowing. I tried back flushing it, and it just didn't flush out the way it needed to. So I literally had to take it apart, take the filter out, and scrub it clean. But there's just not enough surface area on that, and it clogged up fast. So in the end, what I ended up doing is just removing that filter. Then the next filter I've got is a Big Blue, so a lot of surface area on that. What are those, 5x20? And that's a 5 micron filter, so while it would do the job to take everything out, it also clogged up. And so there's the filter that I removed. It's been sitting, so it's drying out. You can see the wet line at the bottom. But this literally, you can see all the sand and everything in there. It just, it didn't stop flowing. But the problem was, if we didn't have a high flow rate, it could not keep up with the storm. And so that became a problem. And I ended up abandoning the total filtration system and just went to a single filter. So here we've got a pleated, this is not the Big Blue, this is a 5x10, smaller filter, but it's a pleated filter. If I'm correct, it's a 5 micron. I believe that's a 5 micron. And that actually opened up the flow rate quite a bit, and just removed sediment from the filter. So in the end, we ended up sending water to the water tank that wasn't 100% filtered, meaning it didn't go through all these other filters. If you haven't seen our filter video, I'll kind of give you a rundown of what this is. Like I say, we start there with a 1000 mesh spin down filter. That's just for removing big sediment. And then it goes to the next filter, which is a 5 micron sediment filter. Then we go to a 5 micron granulated active carbon filter. And then we go to a 1 micron pleated sediment filter. Then a 1 micron carbon block filter. And then we go down to a 0.35 micron sediment pleated filter on that one. Then it goes through to the ultraviolet. That's not really a filter, but the ultraviolet kills any living organisms in there. It basically sterilizes them so they can't reproduce or anything, and they're no longer harmful. So that cleanses the water, and then from there we go out to our water tank. So normally we run this filter on every bit of water that we take out of the tank, just because we're water snobs. And this isn't our drinking water. This is really what we shower with and everything. We're even more of water snobs when it comes to our drinking water. That's all reverse osmosis water. And if you keep watching our videos, sooner or later I'm going to create a reverse osmosis piece that will go with this whole filter and create our drinking water as well. So anyway, the next question is, how did we do? Well, let's go take a look. So coming from the filter on the other side, we just ran it through a garden hose. Yeah, the garden hose isn't a supposedly isn't a drinking water hose, but you know, I drank from the garden hose when I was a kid all the time. We didn't worry so much about everything back then, but who knows, maybe I lost 20 years out of my life as a result. Not much I can do about that, but anyway, like I say, this water gets filtered a lot when we take it out, so it'll be fine. And again, this isn't our drinking water. So this is a 2,500 gallon water tank, and let's see how full it is. This was empty when we started collecting the water. I had emptied it, and actually my hose was connected to the other tank and starting to use it to water the garden as well as keep my RV full. So how much water we got in there? What? So you can see we're like maybe an inch below, 2 inches, 3 inches below this lip right here. Let's go to the outside and see what that shows us. So here's that lip. If we come down about 3 inches, we're about there. There's our 2,000. So based on the distance, this would be about 2,200 gallons or so. We're a little bit lower than that, so I don't know, 2,100 plus. Bottom line is we collected over 2,000 gallons of water between the thunderstorm the night before the hurricane and the hurricane combined. So that's pretty good. And that was just using one small portion of the building. So I did a little calculation. We got over 8 inches of rain in that storm. And based on our roof size, the calculation that I use, found it out there on the internet, is 0.65. So in other words, if you're calculating water catchment from a roof, it's the square footage times 0.65, and that will give you a number that basically in gallons, that should be what you will collect per inch of rain. So I would then have to multiply that times 8. Now our roof, the building is 5,000 square feet as far as the 50 by 100 size, but our roof is actually bigger than that. We've got some overhang, and then we've got a 212 pitch, and so the sheets, I think they're 22 feet. They may be bigger than that, but I just went with 22 feet. So that gives us approximately 5,400 square feet times 0.65, and then multiplied by 8. If I remember correctly, that was around 28,000 gallons of water. So if we would have had our rain gutter set up and everything, we would have collected approximately, over 28,000 gallons of water off the hurricane. No, that was both storms combined. But we don't even have that much tank, so we would have been overflowing our tanks and just dumping it on the ground in reality. Those two tanks are 2,500 gallons each, and then we also have two 3,000 gallon tanks that are waiting for us to put the whole system together, which is a total of 11,000 gallons worth of storage. So in other words, that storm gave us way more water than we're even capable of collecting. So I've got two rain gauges. I've got this one here, that's a pretty little frog. That's the rain gauge. And then I've got another one over here by the garden. And the reason I have two is just to try and be more accurate. That one over there, I think maybe has a crack in it. But I haven't been able to confirm that, because so far my readings seem to be pretty close to the same. This one here goes up to 7 inches. When I checked it yesterday, it was full to the top, meaning it had literally overflowed in the storm, which told me, if I go 6, 7, that's about 8. Just based on this distance, that's how I came up with the number of over 8 inches. So that's crazy amount of rain. Luckily, the garden did not suffer too much damage. I mean, I had some tomato plants that were kind of laid over in the wind. Not too sure about this trellis system. If those tomatoes don't kind of weave in and out of that trellis, then I've got to tie them up. And if anything that's not tied up does come down every time we get a big storm. Other than that, the corn was a little bit laying over. Got a few weeks left on that corn before it's supposed to be ready to harvest. So it was laying over a bit, and I did have to help stand it back up, and it's still kind of leaning, but it'll survive. The strawberries and the blueberries and all that seem to hold up just fine, no issues. The basil, you can see it's kind of all blown over and everything. It took a bit of a beating. The dill took a bit of beating, but at this point the only thing we're doing off the dill is collecting the seeds. So we let the dill and the basil go to seed. The basil is still blooming and being pollinated. You can see a bee there working it, and so hopefully we'll get seeds off of that. Here's a head of dill, and it's got seeds that are drying there on the end of it, and I've been harvesting several seeds as well, so we're good on dill seeds. Gonna have plenty to replant. And here's some more basil here that we harvested, a bunch of it, but I see we missed one, and this one's got a big flower bud on it, so I take that off because this patch we did not want to go to seed. We just wanted to keep it available to use for cooking or whatever. Of course, there's a bunch more dill seeds, so gonna have a lot of dill seed. And there's some more basil over there that we cut way back to harvest, and it's doing fine. So overall, we weathered the storm very well. Considering 8 inches of rain, I was surprised by how well our road held up, and stay tuned for a video coming hopefully in the near future when I get it all put together on that, because we've been working on the road again, making progress, and that's how we do it. We just it's one of those side jobs that when we get time, we work on it a little bit, make some progress, and then it gets set aside again until we end up doing the next section. So we have made a lot of progress on the road, and well, it held up very well in the storm with almost no visible erosion. What we did have was very minor, and it was on an area that we really haven't worked on yet. So to be expected. So overall, surprised with how well we weathered the storm. I haven't found any trees down or anything like that. Other people in the area were not as lucky. There was a lot of damage in our area. There were some tornadoes, mostly to the southeast of us. And of course, you know, anybody who was caught directly in the storm, not only did they get a ton of rain, but there were high winds. And we did have some high winds as well. Can't think of any damage we had from them. Just, you know, other than, like I say, the garden and stuff, you could tell got blown around quite a bit, but no real damage. So thank God we were very lucky and blessed, and we got what we needed, which was a good rain, and able to collect over 2,000 gallons of rainwater. So very blessed and happy with that. We do have another project going that we'll talk about in the future as far as how we're going to water the garden and everything. So stick with us and see what we're doing next. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that button, do all that stuff, you know, ring the bell, whatever, so that you get notified and you'll be aware of whatever video we put out next. See what's going on. We appreciate you sticking with us, watching our videos, supporting our channel. As always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.